Happy Monday to you, Matthew Buckley, the Chief Market Strategist here at Wealth Creation Investing. We have a lot on tap this week, so it's going to be a busy Monday. Let's take a look at what our radar is showing that's really important to us at Wealth Creation Investing this week. Well, first of all, last week, week 3 of whipsaw weeks in the market, and people's necks are probably hurting, but that's a good thing, especially if you trade options. Today, the futures, if we look at finviz.com, the futures are looking a little bit lower. The futures looking lower on the Dow, S&P, the NASDAQ, so everything's looking at a lower open, mainly because of what's going on overseas. Here we go again. When Greece sneezed, the world caught a cold. France is going to be an issue. The French election, because Sarkozy running against a socialist, and the socialist might win. And this socialist makes our current socialist-in-chief look conservative. This guy wants to essentially push France off the cliff, and he's speaking to very populist tones, raising the unemployment age again, putting everybody back on welfare, just crazy stuff that's going to bankrupt France, which is just absolutely nuts. So kind of big news here in the States. If you're not following it, it's big news to the market. And because France, Germany, they're kind of seen as the grown-ups in Europe. And if there's any problems going on in those two countries with elections and stability, it's definitely going to impact our market. So all eyes are going to definitely be on France as Sarkozy goes into a second round of voting there. More importantly, this week, the big tech giant Apple reports earnings. Now, historically, Apple tends to, they tend to sandbag. They tend to, under-report and over-deliver. Now, Thursday, they really sold off. Apple sold off into the close, which was interesting. It just kind of, everybody just, somebody yelled fire and jumped out of the pool. But sometimes this happens before earnings, especially when people know that Apple has a tendency to sandbag earnings. Institutional money, a lot of shares dropping out here, expecting Apple maybe to report some buster numbers and then jump in there. So take a look, keep Apple on your list this week over at Top Gun Options. One of our partner companies, member of the WCI network, has several trades on Apple, and many of them are neutral, meaning we don't care which way Google moves, or Apple, got Google on the brain, Apple moves, we just want it to move in a direction. But folks, this is going to be an interesting week. The Fed meets, and Wednesday we're actually going to hear from the Fed Chairman Bernanke on Wednesday. He's going to speak, which is a double-edged sword, folks, because with all the bad news that we've heard recently from jobs and consumer credit and housing and all sorts of other stuff, it might actually be good news for the market, because we might actually hear Helicopter Ben, the Fed Chairman, on Wednesday say, well, we might need QE3 because still doesn't believe in the labor market, still doesn't believe this economy can fend for itself, which would actually be good news for the market. It's bad news for us as Americans. It's bad news overall, but it could be seen as good news for the market. So get that counterintuitive hat on, because that's the way this market is trading right now. More importantly, or just as importantly, a slew of reports coming out. We're about 3/4 of the way through earnings season. We already hit on Apple, but more importantly, some economic reports come out this week as well. On Tuesday, the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index for February is released, and also the Consumer Conference Board's number comes out for April, and then and a report on new home sales for March. So tomorrow, Tuesday the 24th, is going to be huge. Also going to be huge because Spain, whose borrowing costs have just gone through, trying to sell some debt, Spain trying to sell debt isn't going over so well. It's going to try and sell some more bonds, and Italy's going to sell some as well. Tuesday, the Senate, the clown car that it is going to take a look at why MF Global collapsed, and hopefully somebody asks a question about why John Corzine isn't in jail right now. So like we talked about on Wednesday, the Fed chief's going to come out and talk about what they talked about. Make sure you look at capital goods orders. The spending for March comes out on Wednesday. Boeing report's going to report earnings on Wednesday, and Exxon Mobile is expected to raise its dividend on Wednesday as well. Thursday, some big numbers with U.S. weekly jobless claims, which have slightly been heading to the upside, are going to be announced, and total home sales that were pending in March will be reported. But here's the big number. Thank God it's Friday. Well, it depends. It depends on how the Bureau of Economic Analysts reports, because our GDP is going to be reported, and people are looking for, the 500-pound heads are looking for an inflation-adjusted 2.5% of GDP. Last year's anemic growth of 1.6%. So we're looking for kind of a big jump in GDP there. So keep an eye on GDP as well. So going to be an interesting week. Like I said, about 3/4 of the way through earnings, seeing some hits, some misses, but it's kind of been a earnings season, meaning just it's like I said recently, it's kind of been porridge. It's not too hot, not too cold, and we're going to see if that sell in May axiom that they like to use really holds. So I will see you Friday on our debrief after a slew of economic reports and Apple earnings. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge.